Rafael Nadal's forehand gets most of the attention, but his backhand was one of the biggest reasons he dominated tennis for nearly 2 decades. The heavy topspin, the stability under pressure, the ability to redirect pace cross-court, down the line, on clay, hard court and even the grass. Nadal's backhand became one of the most reliable weapons in the history of the sport. In this video, we're going to break down exactly what made his backhand so effective. So let's get into the video. So the grip that Nadal used for the bottom hand was a continental grip for the bottom hand, for the left hand, and that's just like you would for a serve and a volley grip. The top hand, so for the right hand, you'll see here, he does a grip change, and you'll see that he gets that backhand grip into a semi-western grip here, right? So it's a little bit further round on the grip, and that gave him really good access to topspin because the racket face could really brush up the back of the ball, giving him that heavy spin. So the second thing we're going to look at is his unit turn, okay? And the way he gets those shoulders turned side on nice and early, okay? And that's a real key for being early with your preparation. Not doing too much with your hands, but just making sure you get side on with the shoulders as before the ball lands on your side of the court. So the next thing I'm going to show you is if I draw a line through his chest, but also through his waist, and then I show you how he takes the racket back. Just notice how he keeps the hands below his belly button height, right? So he doesn't have a high backswing. He keeps the hands quite low with the racket face and the string slightly facing down towards the ground. And this really allowed him to have a low, efficient take back, which allowed him to play up close on the baseline, very attacking, which is why he was one of the best players across all surfaces. And he adapted this swing to be able to play on the quicker hard courts and on the grass courts, okay? By having that lower take back, he could take the ball a little bit earlier and not get rushed as much on that side. So he's got that low take back with the hands, keeping the hands under his belly button height. So as he goes into the take back, just watch how he loads that back leg, right? So he's got that weight on the back leg, getting ready to shift it on to the front leg, right? So when he's loading the back leg, just look at how much he gets that. He gets the bottom hand, that arm stretched far back behind the body, right? So he's fully stretching the muscles in the left arm there on the bottom hand, but on the top hand, the right hand is slightly bent. So he's quite relaxed on that top arm. And Nadal was actually apparently naturally right-handed. So he had that extra talent in that top hand to really be able to manipulate the ball like a right-handed forehand, which gave him a little bit of extra juice on the ball. All right, so you can see when he's in that position, he's stretching the elastic band effect back, pre-stretching those muscles, like loading the bow, and he's got the tip of the racket facing the back wall here with the strings slightly angled down. So it's backing down slightly, which is going to help him on the racket drop to really brush up and under the ball. All right, so just notice how he doesn't have a high take back. When he's in that position, the racket head is quite low, and that's how he was able to take the ball early and really be aggressive and not get rushed on this side like a lot of players. If the ball was high, he could have a slightly higher backswing, so he could adapt that swing really efficiently. So watch how then when he starts the racket drop, he shifts that weight forward. This one he gets a little bit close on the ball, so he has to adapt. His positioning a little bit to make sure he's making contact out in front. Right, so this is a different backhand. It's a slightly higher ball that he's going to receive. And now let's have a look at the racket drop. So if I draw a green line here, as the ball starts to rise up to Rafa, just look at how he drops that racket very low. Okay, so he goes from having the racket being pointing at the back fence to dropping all the way down. Right, so almost wrapping around the back of his leg there, around the thigh, and he's extremely loose and relaxed with the hands in order to achieve that position. If you're too tense, you're going to end up just swinging straight, and you're not going to get the strings dropping down enough to create that upward swing path to contact, right? And just look at how high the ball is here. So the ball's up here, and he's dropped the racket so low down there so that he can really accelerate up on the ball, creating that vertical lift, getting that spin out at contact, right? So that's a real key. So let's have a look at the contact point. You can see he strikes the ball out in front there, and he extends the right arm like a straight arm forehand out to contact, which is a real key on his backhand. He hit the ball nice and out in front, and he used that strong right hand to come all the way through contact. So one thing that's quite tough about making this video, guys, is getting the slow-mo slowed down enough to show you the contact point. And guys, that is simply because his racket head speed is absolutely insane that the camera and the slow-mo software can actually hardly even pick this up. So it's almost a blur because of how fast he was able to get that racket head speed. And I remember watching him play a match live at Wimbledon, and his racket head speed on the backhand side was the one thing that really surprised me. I knew I was going to be in for, seeing that huge forehand, but the one thing I didn't expect was when he got a backhand, just the sound of the ball was an absolute bullet when he hit the ball. So you can really see here how he's got that early preparation, the low take back, and I do think Alcaraz has taken a little bit of inspiration from his backhand. Just by over the last couple of years, he's changed it to keep the hands slightly lower under the belly button, almost under his waist height on this take back. And that just gives him that optimal positioning to play on all surfaces. And he could just take the ball a little bit earlier. You can see that he's moved up on the baseline there, and he's taken the ball out there. And his backhand racket head speed was honestly like a tour level, ATP tour level forehand speed on that side. It was just crazy, and that just goes to show the physicality of Rafa. Really was just unbelievable. His legs were strong, his core was strong, and he had that right arm dominance on the top hand, which just made him an absolute beast to play against on the clay courts as well. You got to think, if he can generate that much spin on his forehand side, but also create the same effect off of the backhand, how do you hit through a player like that? And that goes to show why he won all of those French Opens, because he was just an absolute solid brick wall off both wins. And then he also possessed the touch, the feel, the ability to finish up at the net. He was just an all-round beast, and hopefully no one forgets this guy. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want your own game analyze like this, then just check the link in the description. I do a free taster analysis, so if you have any problems in your game, I'll analyze them and send it to you for free. So hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Thanks again, like and subscribe. See you soon. Jack.